the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, God bless America, and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Stitcher, and Double Twist. Thank you always and forever for downloading and listening to this show. Can't thank you enough. Want to welcome some people that have joined the Facebook page lately. Dixon Mark, Jennifer Smith, Livia Chen, Richard Galty, Dallas Deitzenbach. Just want to mention Chuck Falconeri, Chad Walski, Will Gill, Joseph Stephen. Yeah, thank you so much for joining the page. At least one of you I know for sure has listened to an episode. Livia Chen from China, who lives in California. I can't thank you enough. Been a nice new friend to meet the last couple of days here, and she came from communism, and it's the last thing she wants, and I don't blame her whatsoever. I mean, my wife also came from communism in Vietnam, so it's the last thing they want. And yeah, Libya is a really great person, really nice to meet you, and hope she's listening again. It's just, it's unbelievable what's happening right now. Of course, yesterday, Mike Pence did absolutely nothing about the whole situation. He had the power to actually, he had the power to stop these electoral votes that are dishonest, that are fraudulent, and guess what he did? Absolutely nothing. He just kind of said, I don't have I'm in no place to do it, basically. And then next thing you know, late into the night, they certified Joe Biden. So where do we stand now? I'm not sure. There's still people prophesying out there that Trump will be president still. So I hope they're right. That's all I can say about that. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I mean, obviously in this world, God is the real God and miracles can happen. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see at this point. Keep praying and hoping for the best, regardless one way or another. We got to pray and hope for the best. It's not about praying for Joe Biden. It's about praying that the agenda of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is stopped, is slowed, is stalled at the very least, and that we can get somebody better in office 4 years from now or much sooner than that, depending on what happens, one way or another, impeachment or whatever. But unfortunately, in an impeachment situation, most likely we'd be looking at a Democrat again. So because, Democrat president and the next president would be a Democrat at that stage. That's just how things work, unfortunately. So, as of right now, I guess, at this moment, God willing, things will change. Joe Biden is in position to be the 46th president of the United States, which is the most devastating thing. And then even worse is Kamala Harris. It's not because she's a woman. It's not because of her skin color. It's because of her policies and her attitude. Of course, Joe Biden's policies and his attitude are pretty awful, too. He's a pretty terrible person. And the thought of him being president of this country is crazy. What took place in the Capitol yesterday, January the 6th, 2021, is a part of history. It's a terrible thing, a sad thing, and all that. And a lot of people were mostly there just to, again, protest and speak their word, speak from their heart, that what's happening is wrong. And we are against this, and we're not going to let you control this country, these evil Chi-Coms and these evil deep state, whatever you want to call them, New World Order operatives. Their control of this nation is going to come to an end, and that's what they're there for. And then, unfortunately, a few lunatics did some terrible things, and then there's strong belief that a bunch of the quote-unquote lunatics were Antifa, of all things, wearing their mask and everything, the black masks that they wear. And again, it's not about the color, it's just what they wear. It's their uniform, so to speak, to basically create false flag situations here to say, look who did it. Look who did it. It's these white supremacists. It's these terrorists, these white terrorists. That's who did all this. Which is George Soros all the way. Talk is that Trump kind of already knew this was going to happen, and now, I don't know what's going to happen next, honestly. I don't know what's going to happen next. We're kind of stuck in a situation in limbo now. I have to continue praying for the best. Now I'm going to read a statement from somebody that I've just lost all respect for over the years. I thought it was on the page. It was? There it is. There it is. Okay. And of course, yeah, the only reason I'm on the page now with all their nonsense and propaganda is just for material for the show, I suppose. Open court, so of course it's a basketball. It's a basketball page. Oh, they're like NBA and all that. Of course, the Facebook page for this is Freedom of Thought. Facebook.com/Freedom of Thought 1776. So please join that if you could. I was basically saying really tired of this whiny asshole running his big mouth. I lost respect for him a long time ago when he came off as a whiny, obnoxious baby, came in and came out. That would be Coach Doc Rivers, who I've mentioned before. Coach of the Clippers, coach of the Celtics, coach of the Orlando Magic, and former point guard in the NBA. He's now coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, and he's at it again. Of course, now to note, 4 people died, including the most well-known now is the U.S. Air Force veteran lady who was shot in the neck and ended up passing away. Very sad situation there. Terrible, sad situation there. Doc Rivers on terrorists. That's, of course, open court mentioning that terrorists trying to storm the Capitol. So we're terrorists, but Antifa's not. And, you know, what Black Lives Matter, burning all these Black Lives Matter and Antifa, and who knows who the heck the other people were. George Soros operatives burning down buildings all over the country. They're not terrorists. They're just, you know, freedom fighters or whatever the heck they are. Give me a break. But automatically it's terrorists. Terrorists trying to storm the Capitol. So Doc Rivers and his, I will say it because I don't think a lot of people want to. That's basically how his voice is, kind of raspy. Can you imagine today if those were all black people storming the Capitol and what would have happened? That to me is a picture that's worth 1,000 words for all of us to see. It's just, to me, that is pure divisiveness, ignorance, and unnecessary, to say the least. So, yeah, so you're assuming that they would get shot. They'd all get shot. What do you think would happen if they all got shot? What do you think would happen right now? What do you think would be happening right now if the U.S. Air Force lady was a black lady and was a Black Lives Matter or Antifa or just a, you know, BLM supporting protester? What do you think would be happening right now? Tell me, what would be happening right now, Doc Rivers? What would be happening? Do you think they would shoot all the black people? Are you crazy? I mean, pure insanity. You really believe that would happen? I don't think it would. I honestly don't think it would. So I think that's pure insanity. I mean, seriously, if one of them was shot, what would happen? Yeah. That can come right back on you, Doc. And when you're pointing those fingers, there's 3 fingers pointing right back at you, buddy. And that's all I got to say about that. Bull crap, Doc Rivers. Bull crap statement. And it's reasons like that I've lost interest in the NBA over the years. And, gosh, I stopped liking him way before he started running his big mouth about that. Just the whininess on the court and the complain. I never saw a coach complain more than Doc Rivers. So it's hard to support a man like that. Oh, boy. With that said, it's unbelievable, the situation we're in right now. And what else can you say? Of course, there's images, videos of the shooting of the lady. And we're not going to burn any buildings down. Not one building was burnt. Some windows were broken on the Capitol. God knows what the heck those people were doing, what they were thinking. Was it really necessary? No, that wasn't necessary. I wish they didn't do that. So I will disavow. I will disavow what they did. It's not necessary. What was the point of it, honestly? Other than to disrupt the vote and all that, I suppose. But I don't know. I don't think it was necessary. You just get outside the Capitol, protest, demand honesty, demand truth. You know, I mean, seriously, we're just left at an absolute loss right now when you look at things. And then you have the local media constantly spouting out their BS. Absolute frickin' BS. If you live here locally in Minnesota, you know who Patrick Royce, Dan Barrero, Chad Hartman, Henry Lake are. And they need to shut their bleeping mouth. I mean, I'm going to say this right here, right now, locally. If you're locally, or maybe you're originally from Minnesota and you're in another state right now, unsubscribe to their shows. Seriously, unsubscribe. Especially, Henry Lake, Chad Hartman, Patrick Royce, all of them, unsubscribe to their shows. Dan Barrero keeps running his big mouth. Occasionally, he's an honest guy where he'll rip Democrats too. That's the only reason why I might keep him on. And at least he offers other conversations, but he has been an absolute ass to Trump from day one. And I hate listening to what he has to say. It is absolute biased garbage too. At the end of the day, and he talks like he's Mister in the middle, and he's Mister. It's just a bunch of crap. Where Royce, it's like, he's a naked communist basically. Or it's not even if he's a naked communist. He's just a naked Trump hater, and it's like childish behavior. Some of the stuff he says in his show, in his tweets. Chad Hartman told Trump like he's not doing his job at all. He doesn't care about Corona, this and that. Okay, briefings every single day, closing the borders. But then, but that's xenophobia and that's racism. But closing the borders stopped more spread at the time. So what the hell are you talking about, Chad Hartman? It's just stuff like that. Do your job, blah, blah, blah. And then Henry Lake agreed and all that stuff. It's nonsense like that, and all that hatred Henry Lake spews on his Twitter and Facebook. Facebook, he hasn't in a while. The guy went absolutely ballistic back in the summer. Absolutely ballistic in a rant that was frightening, honestly, for me to read. It was scary. I mean, and it shows how much people hate the other side, so to speak, from their side. They hate the opposite point of view to a point of pure insanity as far as I'm concerned, and they have the balls and the gall to call us a cult just because we support our candidate. We support Trump. We support, maybe it's going to be Rand Paul someday. Maybe it sure as heck isn't going to be Mike Pence, at the end of the day for what he did yesterday. He didn't he didn't stand up when he was supposed to. He just let things go with the flow, blah, blah, blah. He did not stand up for justice. He did not stand up for honesty. He just let it go. And Mitch McConnell, same thing. Don't vote for these people. Just pray to God in heaven that we can get better candidates to replace Mitch McConnell, Mike Pence, people like that. If Trump returns to office, I guarantee you 1,000% Mike Pence is not the vice president. If by some unbelievable miracle from God himself, Mike Pence will not be the vice president going into the second term. There is no chance for what he did. He just let it go, like, who cares, and this and that. And like, and basically the media loves him for doing that, but of course they'll still rip him for everything else he's ever done. Like, he's not wearing a mask, or, Pence this, Pence that. It's just all a bunch of nonsense, just for daring to not be 1,000% pro-communism, basically, is what the media wants. And why this media wants communism is beyond me, other than they're in the pocketbooks, just like a lot of these politicians are in the pocketbooks of some people way, 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 way up there that we don't know. Way up there, the New World Order. InfoWars, Barack Obama blames conservative media ecosystem after Trump supporters storm Capitol. Wow. Of course Obama's going to chime in about something at some point. And of course, yes, this is InfoWars. Yes. Ecosystem, huh? What does he have to say? That's interesting. Their fantasy narrative has spiraled further and further from reality. Yeah, like you. And it builds upon years of sown resentments. Now we're seeing the consequences whipped out into a violent crescendo. How about your violent crescendo? Seriously, how about the violent crescendos after every single event that took place during your presidency, brother? And how about, you are wearing me out, brother? That was an old video from Obama a long time ago. It's unbelievable. What about your side and the violence and the burning and the craziness and beating people beyond recognition just for saying, get out of my store, basically. I'll stay away from my store when the people were vandalizing it during the riots. That's basically what happened. So I don't know, man. I don't know, Barack. Seriously, this guy is... He described the Capitol protest as a moment of great dishonor and shame for our nation. But that said, Americans would be kidding ourselves if they thought it was a surprise. Yep. Oh, boy, we got to get that got to get the snarky comment thrown in. Of course we do. That's Obama for you. Oh, yeah. I'm just beside myself right now with frustration and sadness. And I don't know, man. Vote these people out. Unsubscribe to a lot of these podcasts, these local media, and of course local media probably in whatever city you're in, whatever state you're in. I'm sure they're saying a lot of the same garbage that I'm hearing here from, the Royces and Chad Hartmans and such. There's many others out there. I mean, one little bullcrap statement after another, and they're not even saying true statements. They're just assuming things. They're just running their big mouth like that Trump basically enforced all this. He basically enforced this situation that took place yesterday. What did he do to actually make it happen? And he actually did say, go home. And he also said, leave the men in blue alone. He said all of that in his tweets or posts or whatever the heck. And now his Twitter account apparently has been completely locked. That's cute. That's real cute. Imagine that. Why don't you lock it during some of the crazy stuff Obama said in the past? It's the whole thing, though, is the lies and deception. And are they knowingly lying, or are they just willfully ignorant, or what is it? Or do they just worship CNN like it's gospel from God himself? CNN, MSNBC, C-SPAN. I mean, you can go on forever. Like they're angels from God, boy. They're angels from God, and they see all and they know all. And everything they say is accurate and honest. No bias whatsoever. It's all perfect. It's all perfect. It really is. And I don't know if they're willfully lying or willfully ignorant. I'll go with willfully ignorant with lying added on. I think it's a bit of both. From the Barreros, the Royces, and such. Whatever it is, to support their point of view. To support their point of view and their buddies' point of view in the media. It's a big buddy system. Of course it is. It's a disgrace. No, yeah, it's a disgrace, all right. The way Trump would say that. I mean, all you can do now is just kind of have a nervous chuckle at this situation, because all we can do at this point now is pray for the best situation. Pray that, put it in God's hands. Put it in God's hands one way or another. It's just so utterly frustrating, though. Prophecy after prophecy after prophecy after prophecy, and every single thing, every single hurdle that has gone towards Biden and not towards Trump. It has literally been the most devastating, frustrating situation the last 2 months my head's about to explode. I mean, I almost started, I don't know. I don't know whether to scream, to cry, to curse, to whatever. But it's pure insanity. I mean, my head was exploding the day that the media declared Joe Biden the winner. But then it's like, okay, it's not over yet. You still got to get through this. You got to get through that. Now you could go through the Supreme Court. And they pushed it away. And then you go towards the situation coming up on January 6th. And then they push that away. It's just unbelievable. And they say Biden is certified to be the president. So, again, all we can do now is just pray and hope and pray. Pray. Just keep praying one way or another. Somehow, some way. God's hands are on this nation one way or another. One way or another. Is it the end? Is it the end? Is it the rapture coming? Or those of you that don't believe in the rapture, is this the beginning of the tribulation? And we're in for 7 years of serious hell coming up before Jesus does take us away after the rapture, or after the 7-year tribulation. Because there's two different belief systems of that one. Some people believe that a number of Christians will be taken up before the 7-year tribulation, and because there's always that there's like the second rapture later on, or the only rapture in some people's belief system after the 7-year tribulation. So one way or another, is the 7-year tribulation about to begin? Are we on the verge of that, or is something else going on? I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know the day. We don't know the hour. That's what it says in the Bible. So when anybody says, oh, on December the 12th, this is going to happen, I just click off on that one. I'm sorry, because if something good happens on December 12th at the time, that would have been great, but nothing happened. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're just left at a loss in that situation as well. At the end of the day, all these people, if this is meant to be, and Biden's going to be the president, and Harris is the vice president, and God forbid Harris might even be the president herself at some point, well, they'll have their day in the sun. It's not going to be long. It's not going to be long at all, because if this is the 7-year tribulation, that's all these people have, including obviously the Antichrist, which should be the beginning of the true 7-year tribulation is for the Antichrist. Are they coming sooner? I don't believe Joe Biden or Kamala Harris are the Antichrist. They don't fit the description, the criteria of the Antichrist. I don't think they're even going to be American one way or another. They'll be from like Europe or something. So we'll see what happens with that. But hey, one way or another, they'll have their day in the sun. It's not going to last forever. That's for darn sure. As long as as long as you believe in the Bible, Christianity, and all that. Maybe not everybody listening is a Christian. I hope so, but it's up to you. It's up to your beliefs and all that. I can't force you to believe one way or another. God gave you freedom of will. He gave you free will to choose. And, well, at the end of the day, he is the only way, but he gave you the freedom of will to choose because that's the agreement that took place. Not everybody goes to heaven, unfortunately. So, hoping to God that most, if not all of you, do go to heaven at the end of the day. But, at the end of the day, all these people's arrogance and their joy and their celebrating and their taunting us and putting us down and all that, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. They're either going to be changed by God's will or they're going to be in for a very terrible reality check, a very terrible rude awakening soon. And it's not going to be a pretty day for them. It is really not. So we're just going to have to wait and see on that one. I know I just keep saying the same thing over and over again about have to wait and see, have to wait and see, have to wait and see. But that's kind of all it is now. That's kind of where we're at. Are we going to have some kind of miracle and somehow, some way Trump stays? Is Biden going to be the president and Harris and all that? And we're going to have to, again, keep praying that their agenda gets stopped. That there's good politicians that will stop this whole situation. Hard to not believe that the two Democrat senators that won in Georgia, that there wasn't some fraud involving that as well, because there had to be. The other candidates were way ahead, and then magically the other side won. Sound familiar? I think it sounds very familiar, and that's terrifying as well. I don't believe a single thing these Democrats do anymore. I don't believe a single thing they say anymore. I mean, it's literally everything they say, everything they do is lies, deception, fraud. I mean, I can't really feel comfortable that, this person won fair and square. I can't feel comfortable even Ilhan Omar in Minneapolis won fair and square. At least over Antoine. I mean, I'm sure at the end of the day she had enough votes because there's just not enough Republicans in Hennepin County. There's just not. That's the problem. And that's why she's here in the demographic. It's like, she can't lose, she can't lose. But at the same time, if she was stuffing ballots, she shouldn't be on the ballot at all. She should be removed. She should be disqualified. Antoine's not a good guy either. He had a big mouth too. Super anti-everything good, basically. Anti-Trump, his big mouth. Just another one. I mean, at the end of the day, there's really no win at the end of the day. So we just have to, again, stand on God's word. Those that bless Israel will be blessed, like how Trump did with the embassy. And those that curse Israel will be cursed, like many, many, many left-wing politicians that have said nothing good about Israel. Absolutely nothing good. Eventually, their day is coming. So that's one thing we can stand on. That they'll enjoy themselves for now and have their arrogant times right now and show off in our face. But it's not going to last forever. That's the good part. That's what makes me feel a little bit better today. But reality sucks right now, but it's not going to last forever. That's one thing to stand on. And again, hoping and praying for the future. With that said, so I don't stumble all over myself and repeat myself 350,000 times again, I'm going to sign off for now. And talk to you very soon as more events take place. I'll try to get on as much as I can to keep up with things. Of course, this show is not about breaking news. It's about discussion. It's about conversation. And it's about bringing people together, hopefully for the greater good, so to speak. This and that. I mean, we're all in this together. Us conservatives are in this together as much as we can be. Hopefully we're not going to fight each other. We gotta be on the same page as much as possible. We all have different views about certain things. Like some of you might be socially liberal. I'm socially conservative, this and that. I'm not going to fight you over that. So at the end of the day, let's try our best not to do that. With that said, I will now give out some of the contact details. You're more and more than welcome to send in an audio submission, which is the equivalent of like a call-in, but it's called audio submissions in the podcasting world. Use a free voice recording application on any smart device on the planet. Simply open it, click record, start talking, treat it like a phone call, hit stop, save it, and share/email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com. Paladinolive@yahoo.com. I will be then more than happy to convert it into an MP3 file, thanks to Zamzar.com. Happy to give them a free plug because they give a free service. If you have a large file, like maybe a huge podcast or God knows what else, that needs to be converted into a different type of file, you'll need to sign up for a monthly subscription, that type of thing, or a 1 month subscription in that case if it's just one quick job. But a small file like a call-in, that type of thing, is free. So I'm more than happy to give them a free plug for that reason. With that said, please give a positive rating on Apple Podcasts if you could, or any of the other applications. I know Stitcher you can. I'm confused which applications you can give ratings on specific podcasts. I'm not 100% sure which ones you can, which ones you can't, but I know Apple Podcasts and Stitcher you absolutely can. Google, I don't know if they have that or not, because I keep checking and I don't see it, so hoping someday they'll add that on there. I think that's nice to have. Please do give a positive rating if you could. Would be greatly appreciated. Thanks in advance for that. Again, I gave the Facebook link, facebook.com/freedom of thought 1776. Twitter, freedom of thou, because it won't fit, 76. Parler, freedom of thought 17, at freedom of thought 1776. And of course it's at freedom of thou 76 for the Twitter account, as long as it gets to stay there, I guess, right? With that said, God bless all of you, and keep praying, and, well, keep up the good fight, and stay away from violence at all costs.